Hi everyone.
Hi. Picture this. A little fish is swimming in a river with its crew. The feeling of being loved, accompanied, and happy makes everything perfect. And the little fish wishes that everything could stay the same forever. But eventually, the river comes to an end, and every fish in the shoal takes its own way. So the little fish starts his own journey into the big and scary ocean, alone and longing for its group. How many of us felt like little fish? When life and time change, forcing you to move on even if you don't want to, and your only desire is to stay forever in your comfort zone with the people you love. Do you know why? Because those people give life to your heart. They are your whole world, your confidence, your partners in crime. They will be there for you no matter what or how many mistakes we make. But life is not static, and we have to be brave and face the fact that we don't need to discover new places and meet new people. There will be forever with you, and they won't replace your old friends. They will never be them, and they don't have to be. But maybe they can help you to reflect on things that you haven't thought about before. When you flow with the river and end up in a new space, that is the moment when you miss your friends the most. Because they make you feel safe, powerful, and heard when everything seems confusing. Being without them is scary. But we have to know that change is inevitable, so we should all get along with it. Maybe right now you don't see it that way, but in the future you will look back and say, wow, I got over it. When you take that step with courage, that is the moment when you begin to grow as a person. Because you have to come face to face with yourself, your voice, your ideas, your strengths and weaknesses. You are not different in your past. You are allowing to your new future to be born. Your future self needs you, not your past. Let new friendships grow slowly, in the tiny moments. When you laugh quietly in the middle of a class, when you talk about a film, music, etc. And before you know it, you don't feel alone anymore. So, the little fish who was terrified at first of this ocean that once looked scary, now begins to notice the new fishes and the new currents in the water, and begins to swim confidently. Not because of the new space, because the little fish finally believes in itself and enjoys the swim. Thank you.
Hello. Let me share you a quick story. So, when I was 9 years old, I was at a hostel in the US playing in the swimming pool, and I suddenly bumped into this girl, apparently a 12-year-old one, who kept staring at me for a few seconds until I dared to say something. So I went, "Sorry, I don't understand." And she pulled up his face and swam away. Now, this might sound quite hilarious, but for me, it was actually pretty awkward back at the time, you know. She didn't even say hi to me. In some kind of way, she made me feel ignorant for not knowing basic English, and on top of that, I got really mad at her for not trying to communicate with me, or be my friend, right? So every time I remember this situation, I ask myself, why is the "I don't understand" phrase the first sentence we learn before visiting other countries where our language is not spoken? Now that you've heard my story, think of yourself. You'll notice that it might have happened to you. Perhaps at a work meeting, a trip, maybe that time where you were asked to give directions, or where you had to ask for them at that Disney park, confidently armed with Google Translate and zero actual English, desperate, trying to find Expedition Everest, trying to communicate with a staff member who's dressed as Mickey Mouse. No one. But if this series of unfortunate events rings a bell, today is your lucky day, because I'm here to provide a solution. study more than one language. And please don't come at me with your basic schedules because I know there's always time to learn, there's always time to do something for yourself, and there's always time to expand your brain. Because yes, according to Harvard Health Publishing, our brain works like an old rubber band. The more you use it, the more it stretches. Not only that, according to numerous studies at Cambridge University, using a second language engages memorization skills as well as recall. So it's no surprise that people who regularly use a second language often have more powerful memories. And now I really want to hold your hand while I'm saying this, and I hope I'm not being too demanding, but 2 languages are not enough. It is known that here in Argentina, English is a significant second language, often taught in schools and considered to be important for various provinces. Strangely enough, between 60 and 70% of our population has Italian descent, yet not so many of them are willing to learn Italian, right? Truly, the reason why I'm speaking in English right now is because it's considered to be the global language. Global? For whom? For the business world, I'm guessing. And to be honest, it sounds quite boring to me. I know that sadly, as a matter of fact, polyglotism, which is knowing 3 to 4 languages, is considered to be a privilege that only medium or upper class people can afford. If you cannot pay for a language course, you can always have classes online, YouTube, Duolingo, you can chat with strangers online, and some municipal libraries offer free courses and access to books and materials. However, being self-taught requires lots of commitment, so that's why many people decide to pay for it, right? But it shouldn't be that way, because languages are supposed to connect us as human beings. It's something really unique that we have as a species. Although I recommend it, I'm not saying you should learn the entire language. For example, I'm taking French class. And my teacher once told us that before he even knew how to speak French or fell in love with the language, he took a trip to Paris knowing these 5 phrases. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, how much does this cost, where is this, and I need my lawyer. Now, I'm not so sure about that last one, but he says you gotta be better. Anyway, the important thing is that he didn't expect to be understood, nor assume that the people at France would speak English. And to me, that's an act of empathy and inclusion. I'm speaking about us Argentinians too, but locals really appreciate when foreigners try to speak their language, except maybe the French. They just don't like speaking to you. But once again, let me tell you, expand yourself to learn other languages. Es realmente bellísimo because de l'âme connecte les gens. Oh, did you understand what I just said? If not, don't worry, because if I did my job correctly here, maybe one day you will. Thank you.
Hi. I once heard an anecdote from a girl on social media that said that when she was younger, her and her brother used to play this one song that drove them crazy. This song was special to them, and every time they got in their car, they asked their dad to skip to the good part. For me, it happens with the song Love Will Never Tear Us Apart by INXS. Anyway, the parent thought of this request as something rather nerve-wracking, because he didn't know how to explain to them that what makes the beat drop so addictive was a build-up to that part of the song. And you might be wondering, why am I telling you this? Well, for me, success has the same value as a beat drop, and trust me, I'm going to explain myself. In our society, we've been getting used to the concept of early bloomers. This really successful young and rich people that only come to this world to say, hey, you're old, frustrated, and a failure. People like Blue Ivy, Franco Lapinto, or Chapo Rome seem to have everything served on silver plate. But what makes these people feel like a threat to everyone instead of inspiration? Well, basically, it's the pressure of getting it right the first try. The illusion of beginner's luck. We expect things to click instantly. But it's no surprise then that around 90% of people give up learning an instrument within the first year, often because they thought it would come naturally right away. And who can blame them? We see others playing perfectly and forget that they all started with squeaky nose and hurting fingers. This very same mindset shows up when we're choosing a career, a job, or making any big life decision. We put so much weight on the first attempt, thinking that if it doesn't feel perfect, then it must not be for us. But what if messing up is exactly what's supposed to happen? And I think we got it all wrong, because success often doesn't look like that. It looks more like failing, pausing, and then trying again if you have the luck to still be motivated. Yet, we've seen this journey on people we now admire. Take Matthew McConaughey, for example. He once was the guy you saw in every rom-com and said, "Oh my god, I can't believe he's always playing the same character." And honestly, he could have taken that as a call to stop acting. But he didn't. He took a risk, waited, and then came back with, in my opinion, one of the greatest Oscar acceptance speeches ever for his role in Interstellar, in which he said that every day he needs three things: something to look forward to, someone to look up to, and someone to chase. And that someone he's chasing, it's himself, 10 years from now. Not a celebrity, not a millionaire, not some unreachable idea of perfection, just his future self. And every 10 years, when he catches up to that version of himself, his hero moves 10 years ahead. This mindset changes everything, because it's not about being the best or arriving first, it's about being in the constant look for growth and not the finish line. We tend to see the cracks as mistakes, but sometimes the waiting, the risk, and the slow and silent rebuilding are the things that make the structure stronger. And there's a city that illustrates this better than anywhere else. During World War II, the city of Munich, Germany, was nearly destroyed because of bomb attacks. And when the time came to rebuild, the city faced three choices: tear down all the buildings and rebuild them from scratch, rebuild everything just like nothing had happened, or embrace the ruins. And of course, the Germans opted for the last one. Instead of hiding the bullet holes and cracks, they decided to use materials that framed them intentionally. What if we lived like that? What if we showed our cracks, owned our mistakes, and made them part of our design? This kind of transparency would allow us to grow and make our achievements feel more meaningful. Imagine if, before I delivered my speech, I told you that this is my first time ever giving my public speaking speech in front of the whole school. And that is my first time because before I was terrified of even thinking about the idea of talking in front of a large audience. But I decided to make that fear fuel my desire to say everything I needed to say. Chances are you hear my speech not just as words, but as something rather more personal, and that took courage for me, even though I'm beyond nervous right now. So maybe the real win isn't to sound perfect. It's choosing to speak up even when you're overthinking it. Maybe success isn't a beat drop after all, but the quiet, uncoordinated build-up that makes it hit. So maybe, if that's all true, then I hope we can all stand in our ruins, not ashamed, but proud, because that's when the good part begins. Thank you.
So imagine this. You get a perfect grade. Your parents congratulate you, your teacher is proud, and everyone else you must be happy, right? But what they don't see is that deep down you're already thinking, I could have done better. That phrase haunts me. It shows exactly how self-demand feels like. And it's not something I overcome yet. It's something I still deal with every single day. Many people believe that self-demand can be good in a moral way, but that's not true. What they are describing is motivation and perseverance. Self-demand is different. It feels like carrying an invisible backpack filled with expectations that are never satisfied. Because self-demand is not ambition, it's self-doubt disguised as discipline. I lost count of the nights I had nightmares about my grades, or the moment I cried over results that weren't even bad. Instead of celebrating my achievements, I punished myself for not being flawless. My virtues never seemed good enough to feel satisfied with myself. And that's a real danger, because self-demand doesn't always appear as drama or only as cool. It shows up quietly, reducing your capacity to enjoy, to feel humble, and even to appreciate life. It's really about how we talk to ourselves, how we see ourselves, and how we treat ourselves. The alternative is like a new way to relate to ourselves, being kinder and more patient, listening to our real needs, and being thankful for what we already have. For me, being kind means allowing rest without guilt, celebrating small wins, or even practicing mindfulness when I feel overwhelmed. And no, this is not a quick fix. It's a daily choice. Every day we can practice compassion, tolerance, and love for ourselves. It might be difficult, yes, but not impossible. For example, when you receive a grade, instead of immediately start criticizing every single mistake, focus on the things you did well. Also, remind yourself of all the effort you put in, because sometimes you can completely forget about that, and it's really important. I know this doesn't always work, but it helps you remember that progress matters too. However, if you don't feel it yourself, you can still make a difference. Sometimes just listening to a judgment or reminding someone that their worth isn't tied to results can be really helpful. Trying to set pressure expectations, that can really hurt. Being kind and tactful is just right. And don't get me wrong, I know it's easier to say it than to do it. Believe me, I know. But with effort, we can achieve anything. I'm still trying. Every day I work on those things I mentioned. And it's hard, really, really hard. But I try not to give up, because I know that one day I'll get there. Because in the end, life is not about being perfect. It's about appreciating the moment. It's about living the moment, appreciating what we have, and being okay with who we are. Thank you.
When we think about social media, most of us see it as fun, creative, and even kind of revolutionary. It feels like the place where new ideas are born, where people our age can actually speak up. But if you look closer, something really weird is happening. A lot of the biggest trends right now are actually really conservative. Just think about it. Clean girl aesthetic, girl math, and the trad wife lifestyle. Those are trends going viral right now, and what they do is just romanticize conservative lifestyles or normalize saying that women don't know about math or making money. And they hide it behind the argument that it's just a joke or an aesthetic. They might sound fun at first, but if you think about it, what these trends are doing is romanticizing old-fashioned roles and making them look like an ideal future. Here's the problem. Just 5 years ago, teens online were calling out stereotypes, talking about feminism, inequality, climate change, and now, suddenly, a lot of people are reposting and celebrating ideas that actually take us backwards. And don't get me wrong, it's not that choosing to be a trad wife is wrong. It's fine if that's your personal choice. But when the internet tells you that it's the only lifestyle that equals success or happiness, that's dangerous. Because all these tendencies do is celebrate purity culture and anti-intellectualism, of women especially. And also, these platforms aren't neutral. The algorithm is designed to push what gets attention. When something looks pretty, glamorous, or luxurious, it goes viral. And when millions of people keep seeing it, it starts feeling like normal. But do we ever stop and ask, is this really my choice, or is it just the algorithm choosing for me? That's what scares me the most, how fast social media can shape the way we think without us even noticing. It can change what we see as normal, what we believe is possible, and even what we expect from our own future. Because also, this type of content tends to appear only in teenagers' algorithms, the part of the society that is just starting to form an opinion. And if these videos are getting more viral every time, there has to be something that we as a society accept in them. So, scrolling is fine, following trends is fine, but don't forget to question everything you see, even if you like it. Because trends will come and go, but your future, your freedom to decide who you want to be or what you want to do, that should never depend on an algorithm. Never believe that what you first see in the internet is the right thing. Trust your own judgment.
Hello everyone.
field. The lights are bright, the crowd is watching, and your heart is racing. In that moment, are you playing because you love the game, or because you're afraid of failing? This is the thin line between excellence and self-pressure. Excellence pushes us to grow, to challenge our limits, to reach goals we never thought possible. But self-pressure makes us believe we're never good enough. And the truth is, many athletes, and maybe even some of you here today, confuse the two without realizing how much it can hurt. I know what that feels like. During hockey, I once pushed myself so hard that after the game, I broke down completely. Not because I lost, but because I thought I wasn't perfect. Every shot I didn't save, every tiny mistake replayed in my head like a sign of failure. I had disappointed not even my team, but also myself. That's what self-pressure does. It takes away the joy of the sport. But let me ask you something. How many of you have ever felt like no matter what you do, it's still not enough? Like you could give your all and still feel you've fallen short. And that's the weight of self-pressure. It makes you believe you're only as good as your last performance. But let me ask you another question. What if we change that perspective? What if mistakes were not signs of failure, but signs of learning? What if excellence meant enjoying the challenge instead of earning? Think about it. Every great athlete you admire has failed at some point. Lionel Messi has missed penalties. Serena Williams has lost important matches. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players, once said, "I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed." So, why do we expect ourselves to be perfect when even the best are not? Well, the truth is, if we train our muscles but ignore our thoughts, we can't really succeed. Because no amount of physical preparation can silence the voice inside your head telling you're not enough. Mental health in sports is not weakness, it's strength. Simone Biles, one of the greatest gymnasts of all time, once said, "At the end of the day, we're just humans, and we have to protect our mind and our bodies." Her words remind us of something powerful. Excellence is success. Success is not only about trophies, medals, or scores. It's about balance. It's about finding joy in the journey. But let me ask you another question. If you could look back years from now, would you rather remember that you won but felt empty inside, or that you grow, laugh, and play with your team? So here's the message I want to leave you with. Play for love, not for fear. Excellence is about passion and growth, not about punishing yourself. Be kind to yourself, and the game, wherever your game is, will feel brighter, lighter, and truly worth playing. Because in the end, the greatest victory is not against the opponent. It's against that voice inside telling you you're not enough. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Juan P. I'm going to talk about using AI for school. I need you to raise your hand if you ever use AI for school homework. Anyone? Anyone? Now, another question. Do you check the answers that AI gives you?
Yeah.
Anyone? Now, sometimes I wonder, if AI does all the thinking for us, are we really thinking? Look, I'm going to be honest, because the first time I used AI for a school assignment, it felt like magic, because I didn't have to use my brain to think about an answer for a specific question. I typed in a question, and boom, an entire system that worked faster than the time it took me to open my computer. However, after a while, it just didn't feel like the answers to the assignment were truly mine. Because, for example, once in history class, the professor asked to use ChatGPT to answer some questions. But I felt like I wasn't just thinking, I was just reading those questions. It's like asking a robot to do your homework and then pretending you're a genius. And trust me, it's all fun until the teacher asks you to explain it in your own words. And your brain tells you like, we're just cheating ourselves, and no one can fix it. So what do you think? Is it good to use it or not? Think about it. Thanks for listening.
Come on, Cindy, you got this.
I'm sure that if you spend at least an hour on social media, you prefer the terms labubu, matcha, and performative male. The last one where a man pretends to be well-read, a music lover, and a feminist just to get into a bonus dance. This is a very specific example, but it still makes me wonder, what are we outside of social media? From looking way too closely at our picture to not reposting the ones where we don't look the way we would like to. We carefully choose what we want other people to see, creating an ideal version of ourselves. We filter, we edit, and we perform, not just for strangers, but for friends and sometimes even for ourselves. And that's when things start to go south. Building our views piece by piece is a common goal, but reality becomes disappointing if we try to live through that perfect character every day. We eventually find that we are less appealing, less desirable, more contradictory and complex, and when we are used to performing, this feels like a threat rather than a gift. Nowadays, information moves quickly. Everything is fast-paced. We don't need to look too deeply into anything or analyze much. And because of this, we grew afraid of the imperfect aspects of our lives. And that's what actually makes us human, what makes connections meaningful. Yet, that terrifies us. Because outside the screen, we don't get filters. We don't get to talk about the moments we don't like. And because of this, that's what makes us who we are. For example, I just forgot a part of my speech, but I don't get to remember that much. So I'm just gonna roll with it and tell you that social media is entertaining, it's fun, it's playful, but we shouldn't let it get to our heads. We shouldn't make it our primary identity nor the measure of our worth. Because at the end, we are not perfect. We are not flawless human beings. We shouldn't be afraid to be messy, to be human. Because at the end, that's what makes connections meaningful, not being perfect. Thank you. Here's a quote by Elizabeth Pascal that says, all men's miseries derive from not being able to sit in a quiet room alone. Heavy, right? But also kind of true. And let me be honest with you, I'm one of those people who say they hate doing nothing. The other day, I was in my house and I felt super guilty because of being in my house, you know? It drives me crazy to, for example, stay in bed watching a movie, knowing I could be doing something else, something fun, productive. So, let me ask you, when was the last time you did absolutely nothing? No scrolling, no texting, no planning, no cleaning, just being. In today's world, doing nothing almost feels like a crime. We live in a culture where being busy is a badge of honor. We celebrate exhaustion like it's achievements. How are you? Tired, but productive. We clap for that, but should we? Do nothing is laziness, it's restoration. It's letting your mind stretch its legs and wander. It's sitting with your thoughts and not running from them. It's noticing the way someone hits your wall, the way your chest rises when you breathe. We do our schedules until they overflow, chasing deadlines, dreams, dopamine. But in all this noise, we forget the power of silence. When we stop doing, we start noticing. We make room for creativity, for reflection, for peace. Some of my best ideas were born in boredom. Some of my deepest truths came in like moments surrounded by chaos. Doing nothing is a form of rebellion. It says, I'm not a machine. I do not exist just to produce. I am a human being, not a human doing. So, the next time the world tells you to hustle harder, to move faster, to fill every gap with action, pause. Go sit by a window, watch the clouds pass, breathe, exist. Because in doing nothing, you might just find everything you were looking for. Thank you. Have you ever done something you really scared you? Sometimes the scariest decisions are the ones that can change us the most. I still remember the first time I had to speak in front of a large group. I was terrified, my hands were shaking, and I was full weak. Once I finished, I realized I had finally done something I really wanted to do, never thought I could. And it wasn't that bad. Back then, I used to limit myself from doing many things I truly wanted. I kept thinking, what would people say? What if I look silly, or if they laugh? The moment I realized that was stopping me and decided to push myself, even in small ways, the things started to change. For example, I signed up for a charity club even though I hated the idea of being judged or talking to people. I forced myself to talk to strangers at events when all I wanted was to stay quiet in a corner. I even tried learning a new skill that made me feel completely lost at first. And guess what? Each of those experiences taught me something valuable about resilience, confidence, and the hidden strengths I didn't know I had. So now, whenever I feel nervous or afraid, I remind myself that this is not a warning, but it's an opportunity. An opportunity to try something new. And let's be honest, the people will always have opinions, no matter what you do. Of course, that this wasn't easy. I failed many times. Every mistake gave me lessons that success alone never teach. And here's something important. All great achievements require some discomfort at the beginning. Whether it's starting a new language, learning a new language, starting a new project, or changing careers, the first steps will always feel uneasy, but that discomfort is a sign that you're growing. And now, I want to invite you to take one small step you can take to get out of your comfort zone. It doesn't need to be big, but it's a good start. Thank you.
Well, speaking about Argentina is one of the countries that has one of the highest percentages of using mobile phones. Rocío Guayman, a communication teacher, has asked me this question once in a class, and it made me think about how much I use my phone every day. On average, people in Argentina use their phone 6 hours a day, which is less than in Colombia, where the average daily use is 7 hours a day, and Brazil, where it is 9 hours a day. In this speech, I will share my experience and talk about phone addiction, and I will also explore the benefits of using phones mindfully and setting limits. To begin with, when Rocío asked me this question, I started thinking about how much I use my phone. My answer was that I spend an average of 7 hours a day using it, which is more than the amount of hours that we spend at school. But why so much? When I use the mobile phone, I spend a lot of time in apps. For example, WhatsApp to chatting with my friends and my family, Instagram to have fun, and other apps like games or social media. These apps are entertaining, but they also vary a desire, addiction. This addiction makes you spend much time in your phone that you forget other important things in your life. While a mobile phone can be a productive object, using these devices a lot can interfere with work, relationships, and school. But when you use the mobile phone for playing games or social media, then you do interacting with real people, and you can stop checking texts or emails, even when it has negative consequences in your life. It may be time to explore your technology use. On the other side of the question, the mobile phone has positive benefits to have to consider. For example, we use the mobile phone for joining virtual classes, studying for a test, or doing homework. But do you use the mobile phone for this? Nowadays, we use the phones for almost everything, but we have to stop for a moment and reconnect with the outside world. Let me share a quote with you. The more we connect from the virtual world, the more we disconnect from people around us. Wait a second. Have you ever thought about how to stop using the mobile phone so much? Yes, you can control this. First, try to regulate the daily use of the mobile phone and do productive activities, such as doing sports, walking, or talking with friends. If you have already done this and it didn't work, I recommend you do this. You can use an application to control the daily use of the mobile phone. These steps are easy to carry out. There are apps with timers. For example, while doing homework, you set 20 or 30 minutes. These apps include benefits to carry out a daily routine. For example, if I can concentrate on my homework, I use Homo Focus, an application that has a timer, and you set as many minutes as you need. When I was studying for literature in April, I used the app and it helped me a lot. If you realize you have a mobile phone addiction, now you know that by following the real steps, you can have control over this element. It's time to ask yourself if you are using the mobile phone or the mobile phone are using you. Is the one using you? Let me finish with this quote. Disconnecting from technology to reconnect with outside is absolutely essential for wisdom. Thanks.
Has it ever happened to you that you go to an art exhibition and suddenly you find yourself admiring a painting? Not because of what the artist wants to say, but because of the message you created in your own head? That once happened to me, and it completely changed how I see art. I was staring at a painting, and instead of thinking what the artist meant, I was thinking of the message adapted to my own context. That experience sparked my curiosity about what art does to the human brain. Science shows that looking at art activates the same brain parts linked to pleasure and memory. I don't really.
Science.
And to me, that is beautiful. Art works like a mirror, reflecting not only the artist's vision, but also our own inner world. Maybe your experience it too, with a song you couldn't stop listening to, a movie scene that stayed with you for days, or a line from a book that felt like it was written just for you. Those moments matter, because they remind us that art can meet us exactly where we are. It can comfort us, challenge us, or even help us process something we didn't even know we were feeling. And if you think about it, that's what keeps art alive, the fact that anyone can give it a new meaning. If you think about it, isn't it amazing that the same artwork can mean something completely different to each person? So, next time you stand in front of a painting, watch a film, or hear a song, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself through this? Because maybe the real art isn't just what you see or hear, it's what it awakens in you. Thank you.
Hi. Please close your eyes for a moment.
for your iPhone? Now raise your hand if you think you can speak English well. Okay. Well, open your eyes, look around. You see, most people don't feel confidence about English. But today I want to give you hope because English is not only a school subject. It is the language of the world. It is the language of opportunities. Today, more than 1.5 billion people speak English. It is the language of business, science, travel, and technology. Imagine this. You want a better job, you want to study abroad, or you want to travel. With English, doors open. Without English, many doors stay closed. So you have two choices. Stay limits or open the doors of possibilities. People don't fail because they can learn English. We fail because we are afraid of making mistakes. We feel embarrassed when we say something wrong. So, who doesn't speak English here? Raise your hand with pride because English is not about perfection. It's about trying. It's about opening doors. Take care of your thoughts because they will become words. Take care of your words because they will become acts. Take care of your acts because they will become habits. Take care of your habits because they will forge your personality. Take care of your personality because they will forge your destiny. And your destiny will be your life. Mahatma Gandhi said this phrase. This phrase is telling us that if you think negatively all the time, you destroy your life. It is simple. Picture this. You have an exam today, but the topic is difficult for you, as that is were not enough. In previous exam of the same subject, you failed. Your first thought is, I can't, I am not going to pass, I am a disaster. The most probably is that you fail. Why? Because if you think negatively all the time, you destroy your reality. You have to know, the words come with an emotion. If you say to yourself, I am a disaster, this becomes your reality. You believe you are a disaster. If you don't believe me yet, let me tell you a story. In Solomon Island, in the South Pacific, the native people practice an original form to cut down the trees. If the tree is too big to be cut down with an axe, the native people surround it, shout and excited for 30 days. Then the tree dead and collapses. Why? Because the shouts and insults kill the spirit of the tree. The words kill, the words hurt. And the words are sins or death and life. If words can kill the spirit of the tree, imagine with you. Your destiny will be your life. You want to kill your spirit or empower it? You decide. Thank you. Hello. adiós, adiós.
Breathe. Just breathe. You're an expert.
Okay. How many times have you gotten mad after seeing the typical phrase that said, believe yourself, or if you fall, get up and keep going on Instagram or Facebook? Well, last year I felt very anxious because of exams, and my mother came and told me that I needed to believe myself. But what does it mean? How can we do it? The phrase believing yourself pops up all the time. And not only this, we can also hear and see phrases like, you have to do everything you want, or you have to trust the things you are doing. Listen to this one, this is my favorite. You have to love yourself as you are. It sounds easy, right? However, we don't know how to start doing this. So we feel stressed, angry, and tired about the fact that everyone is telling you what to feel, but you don't know where to start. Fortunately, I ran a survey for secondary students, and I felt very surprised because I got results that I didn't expect, because I thought that everyone would feel the same way that I do. The survey showed that 72% of people do not bother to listen or read the motivating phrases, although 44% do not believe or are not sure about believing in themselves. Now, can you understand what I'm talking about this? Don't worry, I won't tell you how you need to believe in yourself, but I will tell you how I started doing this. It all began with a movie. I'm a huge fan of Disney industry, and one of my favorite sagas is Descendants. And one day while I was watching it for the 14th time, I started paying attention to the message that the movie was to give. I realized that the final song is about being strong, bold, and taking risks forget to want you want. It made me wonder whether I was taking enough risks or doing things that I truly enjoy. And it's when I noticed how little I believe in myself, how little potential I saw in me. Believing yourself is a personal and very complicated process. It's not about satisfying the goals that society, your family, or your friends expect from you. It's about looking at the mirror at yourself and wanting to achieve your own goals, your own expectations. So one day, when you look in the mirror again, you will feel proud because you become the person you want.
Okay, next time.
So next time you look in the mirror again, you will feel proud because you become the person you want. You will feel bold because you take the risk and you get what you want. Sometimes it's hard to discover who you really are, but in the end, it's worth it. If we look deep inside ourselves, we will find a special light that we can bring out to show the best version of who we really are. Thank you.
Take what you want, but do you even know what that is? How many of us really use all the potential we have? Most of the time, we settle. We choose what's safe, comfortable, and expected. If we actually stopped to think about it, we realize how capable we are of doing so many things. Have you ever compared your priorities to other people's priorities? Sometimes we say we don't understand why things keep going wrong. But if we never went through those moments, how can we truly enjoy the good ones? How can we give them value? And to truly give things value, you need to know your own value. How can you be disappointed with other people when you don't even understand your own feelings?
accept them, learn how to live with them, be genuine. Don't let other people's opinion control what you do. Discover your abilities. Are you really bad at math, or is it just the way you've been taught made you hate it? If you're a teenager like me, ask adults if they were ever told they were bad at school. They'll probably say yes. Even today, we still hear these messages, just in a more subtle way. For example, you might hear a group of friends complaining about how difficult and hard school is. And yes, they might be right, but the moment they start saying, we'll never pass this subject, it's her fault, it's his fault, that's where you need to stop and ask yourself, outside of this group, am I really bad at this? Am I really not meant to be learning this? Or is it just the way I've been taught? I believe life's too fast to be treating yourself badly or giving your friends the wrong advice. Remind them that they're special. Tell your friend who's incredible at dancing, you're doing so well. Say it to the friend who cooks incredibly, to the one who always knows what to tell you and how to deal with your feelings, to the one who always makes you laugh, even if you forget it sometimes. Being kind can genuinely change someone's life, so do it. Learn about yourself. Be grateful for what you have. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen next year, next month, next week, tomorrow, or even today, so live your life. Picture yourself as a puppet. You hold the strings. Everything the puppet does first starts in your mind, so be conscious of it. Ask yourself, are you going to let the puppet stay still, or are you making it dance? Take what you want. Learn, try, fail, try again. Don't waste the potential you have, because the world deserves to see it. Thank you.
In 101, it wasn't just to fear the wager. It was the ghost of every wasted moment, every choice never made, and the clock ticking forward into a future you no longer control. You might be wondering, what is Room 101? What is she talking about? Well, let me tell you that this quote I have just shared with you is a central concept in George Orwell's dystopian novel 1984, which refers to our greatest fears. These fears can be anything. The fear of regret, of missed opportunities, of not living up to your own expectations. Personally, I think this represents time. And I guess I am not the only one. How many times have you ever felt trapped by your own thoughts about time? Yes, a lot of times, and that's exactly my point. Today, I want us all to reflect about how time can become our personal Room 101, where desperation, anxiety, and worry appear. Statistics from the American Psychological Association reveal that 72% of adults report feeling overwhelmed by time-related worries, constantly ruminating about the past or fearing the future, rather than pausing to truly live. This shows how time-related worries affect us all, shaping our thoughts and our emotions. Time can become a reason of locking humans in an infinite cycle of overthinking. It's as if every minute, second, and hour that passes, we're like a new door closing behind us. Sorry.
This is how it goes.
This is how it goes. We wake up in the morning already thinking about what is going to happen tomorrow until we go to bed. It is as if time itself was a ticking bomb, counting down to something we can't quite name. We are so sensitive and so vulnerable that we allow our intrusive thoughts to take over us, giving them the benefit of becoming our personal Room 101. But only because we empower it and we allow it to be part of ourselves, even to dictate our possible regrets or shape our possible actions. But what if we take that power back? What if instead of fearing time, we learn to appreciate it? Edgar Souls, a German spiritual teacher and author who is known for his best-selling book, The Power of Now, reminds us that the real point of all existence, where all of that happens, is the present moment. and living consciously is crucial for experiencing joy, peace, and fulfillment, while being stuck in the past or in the future only leads to suffering. So, before this day ends, I want to challenge you. Just take 5 minutes for here and now, not to fix the past or plan the future. Just something that grounds you here in this moment. I know it sounds hard, but actually it's more easier than what you think. So let's do it together. I invite you, if you want, to close your eyes and to hear, smell, or touch anything around you. Maybe it's that soft texture of your t-shirt, the sound of the cars from the street, or that impulsive perfume. At the beginning of my speech, I asked you about the idea of being confined by your own thoughts about time. And now, have you experienced something else? Have you managed to forget about those intrusive thoughts even for a moment? With this exercise, we can prove that it is absolutely possible to focus on the here and now, and that we can transform time into a gift rather than a prison. So let's not let time become our personal 101. Let us stop living right now. Thank you.
What are you going to study? What would you like to do for a living? Every single person in this room, including me, has been asked those same questions by friends, family, and teachers. Why are we supposed to answer such fundamental matters with certainty when we still cuddle in our parents' bed and we don't even know how to pay bills? For some people, these questions are easy to answer. They have known the responses since they were kids. However, for some others, what are you going to study? It's a monster under their bed, a ticking time bomb, and a test they didn't study for. Whether they were pressured by their families, society, or even themselves, is it that terrible to make a bad choice? A few months ago, when I was planning my speech, I ran a survey among the senior years at our school. The request was, raise your hand if you have ever been asked, what are you going to study? Then, I asked them to lower their hands if they had no idea what career to pursue. Something common among the three groups was that everyone had been asked, but less than 50% actually knows what they're going to study. One thing that stood out is that this percentage remains the same even with us 6-year students who are closest to making such a significant choice. Now, back to the idea of bad choices. What does it really mean to you? We're used to thinking that choosing wrong means entering a career and discovering it is not what you expected, feeling overwhelmed, or even not liking it. For some people, it may be something to be ashamed of. Society has taught us that being in this position and wishing to transform it is a waste of time. There's an obsession around time expecting young people to start studying early and to finish fast. However, I believe that choosing wrong is not about trying something and finding out it's not for you. A bad choice would be turning a career that you don't like because you feel you have no other option. If you are going to invest so much energy into something, and you have the opportunity to choose what, where, and how, why would you go for something you truly enjoy? This reminds me of my mom's experience with university. When she finished high school, she started studying psychology. Although she liked it, she discovered that it was not what she wanted at the time, so she switched to physical education. She graduated, has worked in that field ever since. A few years ago, my mom decided to study psychology as her second career, even with the challenges of doing so at the age of 45. Today, my mom is officially a psychologist. She can combine the things she's most passionate about with her work. She is young and still has a lot left to do. Having said this, I don't mean to suggest that we should make impulsive decisions without being well informed and conscious about the consequences. My point is that there is no way to know if something works for us unless we try. At the end of the day, making mistakes is a way of learning too. Remember, you are doing the best you can with the tools you have at hand at this moment. And as my beloved Taylor Swift once said at her NYU speech, the bad news is you are on your own now. The good news is you are on your own now.